Hello guys, what's going on guys? So essentially today, we're gonna be making a quick little video, kind of a guide I guess you could say, on what you need to start trading in Counter-Strike Global Offensive and how to start making a profit on certain trades and how to just make money in general trading skins and invest. So today we're gonna go over some of the do's and don'ts about trading and investing in CSGO, you know, what you need to start, what some advice I'd give right now if you were to start. And now's actually a really good time, you know, talking about this in this video as well as another we're gonna be making later tonight, you know, for later this week. Is the market has kind of crashed right now, and right now everything is very cheap and undervalued, such as the battle scarred holo, there being only 5,000 on the entire market currently right now. You know, obviously you can still buy things from the operation even though it's ended if you still have stars in your inventory, which some people do. Okay, so battle scarred holos, we could see another couple hundred come on the market here and there in the next little while, but they're at $6 and about 58 cents right now, which is very affordable. It's pretty much like how it used to be a little while ago, but you know, they're still very affordable. Obviously, starting off, you're going to need some sort of money. You know, obviously the more money you put in, you're going to make a bigger return and a good investment, especially a really good return. Like for an example, sadly nowadays, if you were to, for an example, put $1,000 in a Counter-Strike for a play skin investment, you're not going to make as much money as you could 4 or 5 years ago. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, if you put $1,000 into CSGO, one, you were absolutely crazy because it wasn't really a thing yet, skin investing. That's why you don't see a lot of Katowice 2014 capsules on the market, is because people never thought these were going to go insanely, you know, up in prices. Some people obviously bought a few here and there, you know, especially after everything happened. People were like, oh, they're going to go for like $300 one day, not 6,000, not 10,000, not 30,000, possibly the last one's going to be sold for. So back to the main point, like for an example, if you were to invest $1,000 into skins, it's not a whole lot of money in CSGO, especially in skins wise. I know. Like for an example, a Glock fade costs around $1,000, a little over that just on a third-party website alone. So you'd only be able to afford a Glock fade. But if you were to buy a few skins here and there, like maybe I would say $4,000 or $5,000, a really good play skin investment, you'd see a really nice return over the next course of the next, you know, 2 to 3 years if you were to just play CS with those skins. Like for an example, obviously you'd get the higher tier skins such as a Poseidon or Howl, you get the Fire Serpent, the, you know, the Glock fade. It's a very good option as well. The Dragon Lore is also a very good investment. I'm going to make a whole video covering the Dragon Lore if Valve is going to bring it back for the next, you know, when they re-release Cobblestone, which I'm hoping for or thinking they will for the next operation as well as some of my other favorite maps, which are Zoo. Of course, it's a operation map. Let's go to selling skins on third-party websites versus Steam. So selling items on Steam versus third-party websites, essentially you're going to be losing 30% roughly of your value of your items when you're going to be selling on third-party websites for real cash. I don't usually recommend this, especially even if you're selling skins on Buff. Okay, for a actual currency on there, you're going to still be losing at least like 30%. Unless you have a gun that has Katowice, you know, 2014 holos on it. You know, like for an example, here you have Titan holos. For an example, the very expensive stickers, or the iBuyPower holos, they can get around 85% of their sticker value if it's on a decent gun. Like for an example, if it's on a Redline, you're going to get 85 to 90% possibly, depending on the float, if it's stat track and stuff like that, of the actual sticker, as long as it's not scraped and stuff like that. You can get a very good value rating on that, as long as it's not on like a gun people don't use. Like for an example, if it's on like a Glock that no one uses, one of the worst in the exact game, like for an example, if it's on like a Glock Warhawk and it's on the handle, for an example, an iBuyPower sticker, you're probably only going to get like 20% of its value, probably not even that. It's very bad, especially on third-party websites. If you are going to be trading to those, make sure you are getting a good value for them, especially trading websites. For an example, CS Money really values stickers pretty well. They will tell you on a really crappy, you know, gun, for an example, what your gun is roughly valued. I would take probably an extra 10 to 15% and add it on top of that, because they take a pretty big chunk of your money when you trade on CS Money. But if you have a gun with a lot of stickers or a lot of old stickers you don't know, pop it on there just to see, you know, how much they give it for. You don't have to trade it to them, just see. It's a very good item and use of your tools that you have in your arsenal to see what kind of stuff you can get and see how much money you can get for certain stickers, especially on lower tier guns. Some items, for an example, coming up next. So some things on the market actually can look like they're more than they actually are. So for an example, I've traded a lot of butterfly knives in my time in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, especially in the last year or two. That's when I've mainly started trading and, you know, buying and selling skins. For an example, third-party websites, you can buy skins, sell them on Steam, make 30% of your profit back in open cases. And, you know, that's free money essentially you're getting. Or if you want to buy something on the Steam market, you can just buy skins on third-party websites, sell it on Steam. You know, obviously you are going to be taking some sort of cut because you do have to, you know, come up with the initial cost, but that's fine, especially if you are okay, spending that money, and you're going to anyway. So for an example, butterfly Damascus steel. I remember I bought one of these a couple years ago, and the rough thing is with this, some knives and some skins are very, very hard to sell, especially stat track items. Sometimes, especially stat track knives are some of the hardest items I've ever had to sell in my knife, especially in the lower tier. So for an example, if you try and sell a Damascus steel at stat track, even factory new, it's a difficult thing to sell. It might look like it goes for $3,000 or $4,000 for an example on some items. I know, but in reality, no one's going to pay that for them. Stat track at the end of the day isn't really that big of a deal unless it's on a really, really high tier item like a, sapphire or a dragon lore. But it sometimes is. It really depends. Obviously, on the float and stuff, all these matters too. So don't be manipulated by the market. Make sure you do your own research and how often things sell, especially if you think you're getting a good deal, but you don't. And then worst case scenario, you can always check third-party websites to see how much they'll take it for as well. Another thing is, do your research. If you're going to trade with someone, do your research on the person, especially if they have a YouTube channel like myself. Make sure you do some research. If they have a YouTube channel, okay, that's great. That's a very good sign that they're probably legit. If they had some good reviews, make sure that's legit as well. And if you don't believe the reviews are real, click on the people who are, reviewing the profiles or actually commenting on the person's profile. If they're actually leaving real comments instead of like automated comments that you think are probably fake and they have, for an example, perfect spelling, or they just say plus rep literally just over and over and over again. It's a plus rep bot. Or in CSGO, if you have a number of commendations, I think that's what it is, commendations you can have in Counter-Strike Global Offensive beside your rank and your medals and stuff you have in the game. If they have something like 4,000 commendations, like it's a bit weird, right? Not even pros, some of them have all that stuff. So make sure you look at that, because you can obviously set up a bot with that on a Steam group, which is pretty stupid. I wish Valve would fix that, and that's a whole other video for CS cheating that's going on currently. This is ridiculous, actually. I feel like Valve is literally supporting cheating at this point. I'll talk about that later. A common misconception is what website is the best website to buy items from, and that is going to be Buff. Buff is always going to be the best website no matter what, because they're always going to be the highest trafficked website for skins, because the Chinese open more skins, I think, than the rest of the world, and have a bigger economy in Counter-Strike and a bigger impact than the rest of the world currently right now anyway. They also have a lot more money to throw at Counter-Strike than a lot of us do. We do as well. So Buff is the best place to buy, not necessarily to sell. You could sell technically. I guess what you could do, you could buy off Buff, sell in North America. That's not always going to work. Some items on Buff aren't that much cheaper, as they are here. They're pretty much, some of them are the same. I can't really think of an item off the top of my head. Not every single item though is going to be a big difference. As long as you're paying, or if you're looking at like bigger high tier items, or float really, really matters to you, Buff is the way to go, especially for price. You're going to get a better price per float and stuff like that for a lot of knives and most guns. And in North America, the best websites, especially that I've used Skinbase, Skinport, whatever you want to call that. I've also used CSGO Empire. They're a very, very good website to buy and sell from. I don't gamble on them necessarily. I used to sell things on there, buy and sell things, flip them every week, because you could put in an extra 15% at the end of every weekend. Pretty much after the 7-day trade hold on an item, you just make an extra 15% every single week. So if you just kept doing that with a couple $1,000s, you just keep racking up pretty much free interest, essentially rent. Also, CS deals and Bitskins are options. I don't use Bitskins a whole lot anymore, mainly because their fees are very, very high. CS deals is 1%, which is the best, I think, out of any website, I think, actually. But their choices aren't the greatest, and their prices are so low. So you also got to keep that into perspective as well. They also have the lowest fees, but also they have the lowest prices. So the thing with the lowest prices is, sometimes people don't know about the websites. Sometimes people will go on other websites like Bitskins, and then they'll go on there and sell something for a little more and make actually a little extra money. So that's always an option. I have to add this in here. I don't feel like I should, or I don't feel like I have to, but I feel like I have to at the same time, because people always ask me about these really, really sketchy websites on my stream that I've never heard of. Don't use them, okay? If people don't know about a certain website for CSGO skins and they have really, really good prices or really, really low fees, or a day where they give you free credits or something, don't listen to them. They're probably most likely all a scam. There's a lot of scammy websites in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, especially, they can also steal your API key. So if you don't know what your API key is, it's on your, on Steam account. You're not supposed to show it to anybody, because essentially when that happens is they can counter offer your trade offers, so they can make it look like it's the person that you're trade offering to, and you don't know that you're getting a different trade offer. So then you'll go to your settings, or you go to confirmations in your phone, you'll accept it. You're like, oh, I just got scammed because I got the wrong float for an item, or I got the wrong wear, and you're like, oh, that's great. And how that happens is the Steam, when you sign into a website, is not going to look the same, especially if you sign in on Chrome on Steam, like the actual Steam store, and then you go into a website and it doesn't come up with the same, actual sign in button as it did before, then that means you're getting API scammed and the whole website's a scam itself. Things I want to touch up on is starting small. So you don't always have to come in and drop $6,000 on skins to start investing. You can drop $100. You can drop $100 on cases. Cases is one of the better options for a lot of people. They're kind of like penny stocks, essentially. They go up a few cents and you make a couple $1,000s depending on how much money you put into it. I know. For me, I pulled out of cases a long time ago because at this point, it's very, very annoying to try and sell 5,000 cases all at once on the market. One, it kind of fluctuates the price of the case. It can, at least. And as well, it's a long hassle because you got to accept 5,000 confirmations on your phone. I'm sure there's a faster way to do it. I didn't know of any other safe way to do that. And it's very, very annoying getting them out of the storage containers, and it's too many items going around. So what I did is I switched to higher tier items for trading and selling. I have $100 budgets on my channel, $100 guides that people have actually DM'd me and said, oh, this worked for me. This went really, really well. You don't even have to follow mine. Just, you can do a $100 budget or a $100 play skin investment. You might only make $5 in the whole year if it's a play skin investment, right? Because play skin investments are a lot different than investing into certain skins and investing into certain stickers. A play skin investment is if you want to play the game, but also make some kind of free money here and there, some secondary interest, I guess, to your skins you can have over the course of a year. If you drop $10,000, you're going to make upwards to $5,000 in a year, for your interest in your skins, especially if you're playing with really OG skins or operation skins, for an example, or if you have souvenirs or certain floats that are really, really rare that people would overpay for in the near future. Obviously being said, especially if you're going to be playing the game where you can buy and sell things off of CS Money, so you can buy things on CS Money and then sell them on third-party websites because they're a lot cheaper. Things fluctuate on CS Money all the time. This is a well-known thing. A lot of people do. A lot of higher tier people and traders do, because you do need a lot more money to do that. You need at least $5,000 American USD to start doing that, give or take, because they only really do that with higher tier items, because higher tier items are sometimes harder to sell. But at the end of the day, they will sell because there is a buyer for everything, and CS Money doesn't want to wait 6 months to sell a pair of gloves. But at the meantime, you can. So if you can do that, then that's a great way to make money as well. But once again, a couple $100 isn't really, it's a lot of money, but for this hobby, I guess you could say, is not a whole lot to start off with. You're not going to make a whole lot of profit. People always ask me, how much can I make at the end of the year with $100? Realistically, I don't really know. Unless you're doing cases, that's a whole different thing. It's kind of like Dogecoin. It's kind of like, it's going to go up, but you don't really know how much or if it's going to at all. Essentially. Last but not least, the best thing anyone can invest into CSGO in 2021 right now, currently in May the 4th be with you. Actually, that was our special today, but this is the day I'm making this as well. The best items you can invest in currently right now are the highest tier items in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, the oldest tier items, such as like the M9 Doppler, Sapphire, the Rubies, the Bayonets, case hardens for, anywhere from the Blue Gem AKs to the old knives like the Karambit Oceanas, stuff like that, or Oceanics, my bad, sorry like that. Okay, so you could also have the Katowice 2014 holos, the iBuy Power holos, the Titan holos, stuff like that. Anything old, pretty much in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, like the Medusa or the Dragon Lore, or even the gun gear at this point. Any operation skins are very, very good investments. Long-term holds, that especially that I'm doing. I didn't want to do this, but I started hopping on the major capsules or the RMR capsules, for an example. They're a very, very good investment long-term. I'm holding these for probably around 5 to 6 years. I'm hoping they're going to go from anywhere from right now 26 cents to $15 to $20 in around 5 to 6 years time. If you buy a big quantity of them, you can make a lot of money in a long time. That's a very, very good profit, especially if you're just playing the game and you have the extra income to put that aside to buy those. It's very, very good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Link in the description below. Hopefully that answered a lot of people's questions on a lot of things, cleared up some stuff in the air, helped you not get scammed, or helped you understand trading a little more, or helped you understand, how much things cost, how much, fees are on certain websites, how to not get scammed, essentially, all that good jazz. Have a good day, guys. Peace out.